The topic for this video is solving equations involving powers, part 1. As a starter, solve the following equations. Pause the video, give it a go, then please press play when you are ready to carry on. Okay, these are the answers over here. Remember, when we're trying to solve equations, what we want to do is work out what our unknown variable is, the letter x. Okay? Since our topic today is solving equations, but this time involving powers, let us just quickly recap what a square number is. So, what is a square number? A square number, a simple definition is, it's just a number multiplied by itself. So, work out these questions, please. Pause the video, give it a go, then please play when you're ready to carry on. Okay, 5 squared. Well, we said a square number is a number multiplied by itself. So 5 squared would be 5 times 5, which is 25. 9 squared would be 9 times 9, which is 81. And 13 squared would be 13 times 13, which is 169. Okay. How about a square root? Well, a square root would be the opposite of a square number. Okay. So the square root of 25, if 5 squared is 25, then therefore the square root of 25 would be just 5. Now we know 9 squared is 81, right? How about the square root of 81? What would it be? Just 9, okay? So the square root is really just the opposite or the inverse operation of squaring a number, okay? What about cube numbers? A cube number, a simple definition is a number that is multiplied by itself 3 times, okay? So work out these 3 questions. Pause the video, give it a go, then please play when you're ready to carry on. Okay, well, we said a cube number is a number multiplied by itself 3 times, so 4 cubed would be 4 times 4 times 4, which is 64. B, 10 cubed would be 10 times 10 times 10, which is 1,000. And then 17 cubed would be 4,913, okay? What about a cube root? What would that be? Again, it would just be the opposite of a cube number. So we said 4 cubed is 64, didn't we? What about the cube root of 64? It would just be 4. We said 10 cubed is 1,000. What about the cube root of 1,000? That would be 10. This is another example. The cube root of 27, that would just be 3, because 3 cubed, you can work this out. What would 3 cubed be? 3 cubed would be 3 times 3 times 3. Well, 3 times 3 is 9. Multiply it by 3 again would be 27. So therefore, the cube root of 27 would just be 3. Okay. Now, let's look at an example where we are trying to solve this equation involving a power. So the x now, remember in our starter, we were trying to solve equations, but our x didn't have a power. We call that a linear equation. Here, our x has a power of 2. So x squared is equal to 49. I want to solve this equation. I want to work out what x is by itself. So what is the inverse of squaring a number? What did we say? The inverse of squaring is square root. What about the number 49? You have to ask yourself, is 49 a square number? Of course it is. Okay. 49 is the 7 squared gives me 49. Okay. So how can I get rid of that x squared? Well, I'll square root both sides. The square root of x squared just gives me x, and the square root of 49 would be 7, because 7 squared is 49. You can work this out yourself. 7 squared means 7 times 7, which is 49. Therefore, the square root of 49 would be 7. Or, hold on a minute, what's going on here? X is equal to 7, or x is equal to minus 7. Why is x is equal to minus 7? Because minus 7 times minus 7 gives me 49. Okay? So watch out for this. Whenever we have an x squared, okay, there are going to be not one value of x, but 2 values of x, because 7 times 7 is 49, but also minus 7 times minus 7 would also give me 49. Okay, so please make a note of that. Negative times negative is positive. Let's look at another example involving a cube. X cubed, or x to the power of 3, is equal to 64. So again, I need to ask myself, first of all, what is the inverse of cube? Well, we know the inverse of cube is going to be cube root. And then I have to ask myself the second question, which is 64 a cube number then? Well, of course it is, okay? Because 4 cubed is 64. So therefore, 64 is a cubed number, okay? So what are we going to do? I just want x by itself, okay? So I want to get rid of that cube. What's the opposite of cubing? It's going to be cube root. So I'm going to cube root both sides. Remember, when trying to solve equations, whatever you do on one side, you have to do to the other. Remember about solving equations, the equation has to be balanced, okay? Anything on the left-hand side of the equal sign must equal to everything on the right-hand side of the equal sign, okay? So if I cube root the left-hand side, I must also cube root the right-hand side, which is 64. So the cube root of x cubed will just give me x, and the cube root of 64 would give me the number 4, and that's my final answer. Okay, and sometimes you can also check if you've got the right value of x by doing 4 cubed. What is 4 cubed? 4 times 4 times 4. Well, 4 times 4 is 16. Multiply it by 4 again gives me 64. Let's look at one more example. This will be the final example. X squared over 4 is equal to 4. I need to solve and find out what x is by itself. Step 1. What is the inverse of dividing by 4? Remember that division line. X squared over 4 means x squared divided by 4. Anytime you see that line in a fraction, it just represents a division line. So x squared over 4 is just x squared divided by 4. So I want to get rid of that dividing by 4. How can I get rid of that? I need to think of the inverse. The inverse of dividing by 4 would be multiplying by 4. Okay? But whatever I do on one side, remember, I have to do it to the other. So if I multiply by 4 on the left-hand side to get rid of that 4 on the fraction, then I would have to multiply by 4 on the other side because it is an equation. We have to keep it balanced. Okay? So, well, if I'm dividing by 4, multiplying by 4, they would cancel out. They're two opposites, right? And 4 times 4 would give me 16. Now from here, x squared is equal to 16 is similar to example number 1. X squared is equal to 16. Is 16 a square number? Of course it is. So what does that mean? I can square root both sides. Well, the square root of x squared, they're two inverses, it just gives me the letter x. And the square root of 16 is 4 or minus 4. Why? Because 4 times 4 is 16, but also minus 4 times minus 4 gives me positive 16. So please make a note of that. Remember, if you square root a square number, you're going to have a positive and a negative. Now, there are a few questions here for you to try. So please pause the video, give it a go, then please press play when you are ready to carry on. Okay, these are the answers. Please mark it and give yourself a tick if you've done well, and correct it if you didn't.